Welcome everyone to my first IDW Sonic review of 2023, and we're kicking off the new year by looking at issue 56, the conclusion to the Overpowered arc. Before going on, I'm placing my spoiler warning here because things are going to get intense. But first, let's quickly look back at what happened last time. 3 pairs of different factions converged at Starline Base Sigma with different goals. Sonic and Tails were there to stop Surge and rescue Whisper's Wisps. Eggman and Metal Sonic wanted to reclaim the Dynamo Cage and to learn more about Starline's handiwork. And Surge and Kit planned a trap for their enemies. There was some conflict between the first two groups until Surge struck out on her own. This only resulted in Sonic and Eggman teaming up again, and Surge having doubts about her plan. Still, she and Kit forced the 4 game characters to a specific area where they initiated the final conflict. As Sonic and Metal Sonic tag team Surge, Tails deflects Kit's water attacks towards his buddy. He doesn't want to hurt Kit, but he also wants to make sure Kit doesn't hurt Sonic. As the two ascend the tube tower, Tails reveals that he's read Starline's notes and that he's sorry about what happened to him and Surge. At the same time, it does not justify Surge hurting other people and herself. This gets Kit to stand down, with Tails telling him Sonic can make it right. At first, it looks that way as Sonic and Metal Sonic wear Surge down. Surge, though, breaks off to go after Eggman. Metal tries to intercept, but Surge grabs him and uses him as a blunt object to knock Sonic across the room. Metal Sonic activates his black shield to break free of Surge's grip. That was a mistake as Surge absorbs the energy and knocks Metal offline. A re-energized Surge charges towards Sonic at full speed, only for her to miss. She did destroy some of the tubes, and water's now flooding the area, something Surge tries to take advantage of. Eggman rescues Sonic, only because he needs him to distract her long enough so that he can repair Metal Sonic. Sonic sticks to the higher areas as Surge unleashes wisp-based attacks in an erratic fashion. During this, Sonic asks Surge, why is she doing this? Starline is gone. She should be free to make her own choice. Surge replies she can't. Thanks to Starline, being in Sonic's shadow has been deeply ingrained into her very being that ditching the only reason she exists is not an option. Sonic's luck runs out as it's soon revealed his leg hasn't fully healed as originally thought. Surge takes advantage of this and dissolves the cube block he was holding on to. That or the block dissolved on its own. Either way, Sonic falls back into the drink, and this time, Surge zaps him so that he'll stay down. She attempts to murder him via strangulation because in her mind, that's the only way she'll be free. However, the amount of energy she's channeling is too much for the Dynamo Cage, and it breaks, knocking her out and freeing the Wisps. They, along with Tails, help Sonic back on his feet, and Eggman chooses this moment to break off the truce. He sends the reactivated Metal Sonic to collect the unconscious Surge. Kit intervenes and grabs Surge instead. He explains that everyone, Starline, Eggman, and even Sonic, only want the two of them because of what they can do. He won't let that happen. Using his own water tentacles, in conjunction with the tube waters, Kit begins collapsing the room with the intent of burying the game characters, along with Surge and Kit's past. Time for an escape sequence. You know, it would be nice if the Wisps could provide Sonic and, maybe Tails, some assistance by lending them their powers? No? Guess the two have to do this the hard way. They make it out, along with Eggman and Metal Sonic, much to their annoyance. Eggman, seeing the angry Sonic and Tails, invokes the truce, the very one he tried to break earlier. Sonic, who is not a backstabber, begrudgingly honors the deal, and the two parties go their separate ways. And that's the end of the issue and the story arc. Overpowered is an apt title for this 5-part arc. For instance, the immediate ultimate goal for Surge was to overpower Sonic. That's what she was made for. When the initial attempt failed in issue 50, she needed something to give her an edge, and she found it with a dangerous experimental device that would give her exactly what she wanted. But in her quest to overpower Sonic, she became overpowered by her insecurities, including being considered weak, more than likely represented by the Starline hallucination. What did her in was that the overpowered condition urge to destroy Sonic was so great, she failed to notice that the dynamo cage itself was overpowered until it was too late. What I like about this final confrontation between Sonic and Surge is, Sonic didn't really win this one. Surge was on the verge of strangling him to death when the dynamo cage finally gave up the ghost. If it hadn't right there, Sonic would have been a goner. The Sega deities may have given him and the other game characters plot armor, but that doesn't mean the armor goes unscathed from time to time. Kit also falls under the overpowered umbrella. He easily overpowers Metal Sonic on both the first issue of this arc, and in this issue, the conclusion. I just realized this kind of bookends things. I think Evan did this intentionally, but who knows. Like Surge, Kit is overpowered by his conditioning. In this case, the need to serve. He literally said that's his only purpose. In the end, he let that need dictate his decision to be with Surge, while displaying some of his overpowered skills one last time. Now about Kit's final speech to the group before collapsing the structure. How he and Surge are just wanted for their abilities, and the attempts to change them. That might have been true for Starline and Eggman, but for Sonic, I'll have to disagree with him there. He's only going by what information Starline had on the Hedgehog, and the actual interaction was surface level stuff. And while Kit may have accused Sonic of lying, again, from his point of view, Sonic was telling the truth. He thought Surge died during the initial confrontation, and Kit hastily took action before things could be explained to him. Even Tails' attempts to connect to him, due to his own harsh upbringings, were met with limited success. What it comes down to is, Kit never got the chance to hang out with Sonic and his friends when the world's not in danger. Thus, he never conceived of the possibility that they just want to be friends, or at the very least be on friendly terms with each other without exploiting their powers. His mind again has been twisted by Starline's machinations. So, is this the end of Surge and Kit? It's hard to tell based on this panel. It can go both ways. If they did go the same way Starline did, via collapsing rubble, it's kind of fitting. Starline's work being buried and forgotten. On the other hand, Kit could have used the chaos to slip away along with Surge. His original suggestion to Surge was to run and hide before Surge made the decision to fight. Now Surge is incapacitated, and Kit's doing what he thinks is best for the both of them. We don't know for sure, unless the writers give hints about their fate. If they're allowed to. There might be an NDA thing going on. Personally, I think they're alive. My interpretation of Kit's line about burying their past could mean they're going to put Starline Base Sigma and all of Starline's work behind them and forge their own path. We may see them again in the future when the time is right. Or it could be absolutely wrong and they're dead. One more comment about Surge and Kit's final appearance. It has an anime-esque feeling to it. I know what you're thinking, since when is Sonic not anime inspired? Well, this bit right here gives off Yu Yu Hakusho vibes. For context, at the end of the Chapter Black arc, the main villain of the story is defeated/killed, and he's about to be taken to the spirit world for judgment. But the villain's very loyal partner takes him away instead. He chastises the heroes about their methods before they both disappear to someplace no one will ever find them. That's what immediately popped into my head as I read this section. Another thing of note is this panel of Sonic at the end. Evan and company tweeted it a day or so before the issue came out, and for a while, there was no context behind it. Well, now we know. It's a face that says, I really hate being a hero at times, but if I don't honor the truths, then I'm no different from Eggman. If there is one negative I can take from this issue, it's that it just ends. Sonic and Tails rescue the Wisps, Eggman got nothing, and they part ways. This is the ending to an ongoing storyline. I feel like there should have been at least one more issue dedicated to an epilogue, which would allow the characters to reflect on what's happened, and at the very least, see a joyful Whisper be reunited with her Wisp buddies. Say what you will about the lengthy Metal Virus saga, at least there were a few issues that allowed the characters to breathe, for the most part. Here though, we're done with Surge and Kit. Let's just sweep them aside and move on to the next story arc. Perhaps they'll address some things in the next issue. We'll have to see. And so we've come to the end of a storyline that started way back in the Bad Guys miniseries, possibly even as far back as issue 31, or perhaps even issue 25. Even though game sprite glitches have become the basis for comic characters in the past, I'm still amazed that the writers were able to make new characters based on the likes of Wicenda and Ashura, and they added Blue Knuckles for good measure. I may have said this before, but in case I didn't, it has been a while. The concept of the Glitch Trio was conceived early on in the book's run. To build off that, I've since read somewhere that the original plan was to have the entire trio debut in issue 11, but the idea was changed to just having Starline appear first. Makes you wonder, what if Starline, Surge, and Kit debuted at the same time? Maybe the original plan was for the latter two to kidnap Mr. Tinker instead of reusing Rough and Tumble. From that scenario alone, the series could have gone in a number of different directions. Ultimately, I like what we got better. It shows the links of what a fanboy would try to do for his senpai, the people he's hurt along the way, and have it all be for nothing. And two of those people he hurt had no choice but to follow the parameters he set, erasing all traces of their past for good measure. They were just two random innocent people Starline plugged for his sick, twisted plan. Even when trying to break free, a part of them will always be a slave to his conditioning. Their bodies and mind are forever altered. This feels like a Frankenstein's monster situation. And like Frankenstein's monster, they would go out into the world and hurt innocent people. You want to hate them, but at the same time, you kind of feel sorry for them. They never asked for this. Say what you want about Starline, he was right about one thing. Surge and Kit needed proper care and maintenance. Emphasis on care. He should have treated them more like individuals with feelings rather than a means to an end. They would have at least be more mentally stable than they are now. Even Eggman treats Metal Sonic with more care than them. Mecha Sonic, on the other hand, well, that's a subject for another video. With no more Starline, Surge and Kit do start breaking down in more ways than one, to the point where they refuse help of any kind. Despite Sonic and Tails' best efforts, in the end, sometimes tragic monsters like Surge and Kit cannot be saved or don't want to be saved. With the threat of Surge and Kit behind us, it's time to focus on the comic's next direction. Next time, Ian Flynn returns to the series for a couple of issues as he kicks off a new storyline. And it's something I correctly guessed a number of issues back. Finally, I would like to address Sonic's comment about Eggperial City, that as long as this place exists, it can be a threat to the world. This is true. Who knows what havoc or devices Eggman could unleash from there? I have a feeling that's going to be the next overall arc. Yep, it's time to take on Eggperial City. So look forward to that, along with Tangle and Whisper teaming up again, and the ascension of a long-established background character to a more prominent role in issue 57. See you then. I know you guys just went through a terrible experience with the Dynamo Cage, but seriously, you couldn't loan Sonic and Tails Spike, Hover, or even Rocket during the escape sequence? I'm just trying to justify a potential plot hole here.